teacher is Melissa Willis from Melissa Willis Music. I wanted to quick jump on today and do just a short rhythm tip. So this rhythm tip is inspired by and comes from the Music Mind Games Blue Jello rhythm language, which you can learn more about just for free by going to the website. Excuse me, they have a Blue Jello, if you go up on their website tabs, I think there's a tab that's called Learn, and you can scroll down and it'll say Blue Jello. I think it says a delicious way to learn rhythm. And it really is. It's really, really great. So I can't imagine teaching rhythm any other way. It makes everything that should be difficult and complicated really not difficult and not complicated. The rhythms are still complex, but they're not difficult or complicated. So one rhythm that was always confusing to me as a student was the dotted 8th 16th. So even if I kind of knew how it was supposed to sound, so we all know we want it really crisp, right? So we want the 3/16ths on the dotted 8th and then that single 16th. So you have bum, 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 and so on. And so often I think we hear this bum, bum, bum. We get this triplet rhythm instead, and it's very sort of lackadaisical, a little bit lazy sounding. We want that really crisp sound. And certainly I use that word. We talk about things being crisp, and I try to get students to hear the difference. But sometimes it's really tricky. And so what I've been discovering is when I introduce this dotted 8th 16th rhythm with the Blue Jello cards, the students are actually learning the rhythm, first of all, before they get to their music. So they haven't developed any weird habits surrounding these rhythms, like maybe so many of us have had. Like I certainly know that I did as a student, so I had to undo some things. So what I'm going to kind of show you today is a really great way to introduce it to new students, maybe younger elementary students who aren't even seeing dotted rhythms really on the printed page yet, but are just learning how to create them through rhythm. And then I'll also kind of back up and show some different ways you can interject a little music math with the Music Mind Games approach, and also maybe ways that you can help students who are struggling with it, who've maybe come from a number counting background, who are maybe older and are having that sort of trouble getting that really crisp dotted 8th 16th rhythm. So I'll try to cover kind of a variety of those things. I think the thing to remember is that when you're working with young students, elementary age students, and they haven't seen any of this in their music yet, don't do a lot of explaining, just let them do it. Let them experience it. Certainly activate their listening skills, but you don't have to put a whole lot of math or numbers with it to make it any more complicated than it already is, I guess. So I'm going to take you over to my board, my famous board. Move this back a little bit. So what I have up here, so in music, in Blue Jello, I should say, in Blue Jello, I think if I can get, maybe I'll just hold these up. So this is the rhythm in question, right? So I'm going to go ahead and put this back. And in Blue Jello, that rhythm is called purple. So, and I love this card. So it says, cats are the only animals that purr. So what I've discovered as I'm doing this with students, some students will naturally do it pretty crisp, purple, 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 but some students will start purple, 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 purple. They sort of get this more relaxed feel. So my first instinct was just to say, well, just keep listening. And then I thought, well, we can just subdivide on purple, right? I don't have to use, by no means did I use the word subdivision. I thought that in my head, but I didn't say that word because I don't want to use lots of, I feel like the more words we put to explain things, the more difficult things become, and they don't need to be that difficult. So what I encourage students to do is just say, purple, 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 purple. And I might even have just said, this note is going to be longer, and this note is much shorter. So you want to be sure that you have 3 things here. Purple, 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 purple. Now, that made a big difference. So we actually said purple, 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 and some students I had go purple, 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 or we just did purple, 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 like that. Then if you hold, you can just do purple, purple, purple. So there's lots of different ways to do that, and you're just attaching it to a word, so it's really unintimidating. Now, you can go a little farther. This particular card comes before the purples in the blue jello deck. So this is the Huckleberry. And of course students love that. I have to show the Huckleberry card. So Huckleberry is a wild blueberry. Good for little, does it say small? Oh, small skateboard wheels. So that's very wonderful. I like that. So you can kind of start to explain what's here and what's happening in here and how those relate. It depends how far they are. So in the blue jello rhythm cards, there's 2 decks. These are from the first deck. In the second deck, we get just the huck, which of course is the first syllable of the huckleberry, and then you can see that on the back. And in the second deck, they get things like this. So they say this different. So you have huckleberry, huck, 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 huckleberry, huck. So they're used to seeing those single 16th notes, and that can tie in nicely to that as well. So depending on kind of where they are in their journey and how many cards they've done, I take more time to explain this. Now this down here, I want to take a moment. If you want to explain, when you get to the music math side, so a beautiful thing about blue jello is it isn't math, it's just rhythm doing. So it's not really even rhythm explaining, it's sort of listening and doing, and that's all. And there are tons of other games that go into music math. So this is a little bit out of sequence, but one of the things about music math in music mind games is that it's taught by addition instead of division. So we traditionally think of whole note, half note, quarter note, and they keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So in music mind games, we start with the smallest, well, not the very smallest. We start with the 16th note, which is the smallest in the curriculum, and then we add, and it's just addition obviously is much easier. You know, I remember in math as a student, addition was easy, subtraction seemed difficult. Multiplication was easy, division seemed difficult, at least for me. So a 16th, and this is a scoring system in some of the rhythm math games, which I realize I have not gone into yet, but a 16th note is just 1. It's just 1. And then the 8th note, of course, you can overlay this on top and see that the 8th note is 2. Now, I have somehow misplaced my dotted 8th note that goes with this lovely set. So I had to make one out of an index card, so that's why it looks different. It's just my stand-in until my other one appears from my studio. And this, of course, the dotted 8th is worth 3. So then when you go back and do purple, it makes more sense, right? You could even bring this right down here, and then they can see that. Purple, 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 and so on. So you know the drill with dotted 8th, 16th. I don't need to go through that. So, but that's a really kind of concrete, tangible way for them to really understand that. And I would like to think, if all this was available to me when I was struggling with this as a student, it would have made it much easier to understand. So. Anyway, I just wanted to toss out that tip so it can be useful to you as you first introduce this rhythm to students, but also for older students who maybe struggle with it and are getting that sort of kind of that more swaying feel instead of that crisp dotted 8th, 16th feel. So I hope that was helpful. Happy teaching. Bye-bye.